How are we today? Right, so I'm going to do a little talk about mushrooms. No, stop. I'm going to do a little talk about tomatoes and how I do them. Just a little run through and stuff, just to catch up so that you can see how yours are getting on compared to mine. And then I'm going to do mushrooms. That's why I said mushrooms. So I'm going to grow Blue Oyster Mushrooms. So I'm going to get them going. Now let me show you what I've got and my plan. So I've dragged my daughter into this, so she's going to help me out. She's going to, because my hands aren't great, so she's going to do a bit of cutting for me. So let me show you. Right, so I've got all these. These are all those 5 litre water bottles, plastic. So I'm going to use these to grow mushrooms. So I've got me mushroom spawn, and my daughter was going to do it about a month ago, and she's still not done it, so they need to be done. So that's the next job. So instead of throwing them all away, I've saved them, and I'm going to cut, well, my daughter is, she's going to cut the bottom off, probably up to like maybe that line there, and then we'll take that back on. We're going to fill it with hay, so I need to put the hay in boiling water, so it's not boiling water as in from the kettle, it's hot water from the tank, because if you boil the hay, the straw, it kills all the bacteria, and we don't want all the bacteria killed. We just want any potential mushroom spores that are in there, we want them killed. So it'll be hot water from the tap, not boiling water from your kettle. So I'm going to put that in a pillowcase, all the hay in a pillowcase, and then I'm going to plunge that and leave it to soak in a bucket of hot water. Right, I hope you can hear me because I've not got my microphone on. So I'm going to use that pink bucket there. So I'm going to give it a clean out now. I'm going to wash it all out, and then the hay is going to go in a pillowcase because I haven't got, you can use a hessium sack or anything like that, but It needs to be clean. So I've got an old pillowcase, so I'm going to stuff an old pillowcase with hay, and it's going in there with hot water to soak for an hour. It's got a hole in it, so I'm going to put a bin liner in it, I think, because water's not going to hold in there, is it? So I'll put a bin liner in it, and then I'll give it a wash out. I'll put a bin liner in it, and then we'll put the water in there. Right, so now it needs weighing down to keep it underneath the water. Right, I'm going to leave that for an hour now, and then I'll come back and drain it. Right, so as you can see now, it's all wet and soggy, so I'm just going to leave it to drain now, so that because it's still dripping. So as soon as it stops dripping, then it'll be ready to go. So we'll leave that for another half hour or so. Right, so as you can see, no dripping. Right, this is what we've ended up with. So we've got these, we've cut the bottoms off there, like that, and holes in the side. So we're going to do like a lasagna. Oh, knocking yet. We're going to do like a lasagna. So we're going to put straw in the bottom here, and then we're going to put the spawn stuff in like lasagna stacks. Then what will happen over the next 7 days is this will grow, and I'm sure it's called mycelium, and it'll fill this with like a white fungus that you'll see like a mould. Over the next week it'll all grow. We're going to put some tape over all these holes. Can you see there? Move that over a bit. So we're going to put some tape over these holes here. So we've got some micropore, which is surgical sort of tape. You know, the one that you use for like bandages and stuff, that they use in hospitals. So because this is porous, it'll let air through, but it won't let the mushrooms start to develop until it's got to the right level. So we're not going to let it do that. We're going to stop it from doing that. So if you can see there, it's like a crumbly sort of stuff, and then we're sandwiching that in between the straw that's been sterilised. Right, so in a week this will all fill up. It'll all turn white basically, and that's all filling up with the mushroom fungus, which is called mycelium. And I apologise if I've got that wrong, but I think I'm right. And then, so these are going to have to go in a dark place now. Well, not a dark place, but they can't go in the sun, because if you think about it, mushrooms don't grow in the sun. They grow in sheltered places. So if you are going to put them outside, you can put them under a tree or somewhere that's quite sheltered and shaded. I don't know where I'm putting them yet. I don't think they're going to go outside because I'm a bit worried about them getting contaminated with other mushrooms. I've got quite a few like wild things going in my back garden, so I don't know whether to put them in there or not. So I think they're going to stay inside because they germinate. It's not the right word, is it? But they grow very quickly. These are Blue Oyster Mushrooms, and we got these online. So we bought these online from Amazon. They've already started sprouting when we opened the pack. These were there, and these are a Blue Oyster Mushroom, so they've already begun. So we're just going to get them going again. Now what happens is, when this is full of white stuff, we'll take all these little sticky things off, or the micropore, we'll take all that off, and then we'll pop them in a light spot, but not dark, but not direct sunlight. And then what will happen is they'll just grow little mushrooms out of each hole, sort of like that. They'll grow upwards, and then we'll chop them off before they get too big, and eat them. And that's it. That's how easy it is to grow mushrooms. So save your big bottles and recycle them. Don't throw them away. So let's get cracking and see what happens with that. Next job. Now these are the first ones that I planted in grow bags. These are a determinate variety. These are called Balcony Magic, in case you forgot. Now these are in my conservatory, and I don't pull any of the side shoots off. So I'm going to take you through what I do with my tomato plants. Everybody's different, but if you've not had them before, then I'd like to give you some sort of guide so that you're not going in completely blind. So let's have a look in the greenhouse first. What do you think you're doing in here? The size of that? We start my one and only giant pumpkin. Look at that. So I don't think I'll be getting giant pumpkins this year, that's for sure. Right, tomatoes. I want to try and make it as easy as possible so that those that are just starting out growing, especially if you're growing in bags, in grow bags, or pots, planters, and in a greenhouse, or not in a greenhouse, or in a plastic greenhouse, or in a little, one of the little disposable, they're not disposable but they don't last very long, the cheap plastic tiny tomato greenhouses. I want to try and make it easy for you, because a lot of gardeners get a bit complicated when it comes to tomatoes, and I don't believe that nature is complicated, and don't make it complicated. So let's have a look at what I do to keep it simple for you, so that it's not too overwhelming and you don't get too confused. Now, what I do is I don't strip back all the, what other gardeners call suckers. These are not suckers, they're actual side shoots. So they grow out of the plant like that. I take some off, but I don't go mad with them. Because, oh, just hang on while I let this be out. Because they produce another plant. So I used to take all the shoots off. I used to take all the leaves off, all the way up, and leave like a bald stem. And every year I used to look at my tomato plants and think, wow, they look absolutely horrific. They look so bad. So don't do it anymore. So I've tried all different ways. So I've took a big one off there. Can you see there? I've snipped that off because it was too bushy. It was making everything too bushy, and tomato plants need air, they need ventilation, and they need to be able to breathe. So, so if they look like they're getting too bushy, then just take a few off, but don't go mad. So you see this one here. Now this is a bush variety, so it grows lots and lots of leaves. So the side shoots, I leave them on. I don't take any off because you're not supposed to. This is a determinate, so it'll only grow to a certain height and then it'll stop. So don't worry about the tomatoes getting sunlight and going red and not being able to go red. They'll go red. Trust me, they will go red. So this is an indeterminate. So this one will just keep growing and growing and growing. So it's got side shoots. And I've nipped a couple off at the bottom because I want it to grow upwards and not too bushy. But then on the other side, there's one there, this one. And if you can see there, it grew a side shoot earlier on and then split. So I've got two plants growing at the bottom there. And it's split into two plants out of one, just on one. Don't worry if you miss any, or if you want to take them off, then take them off. It's completely up to you how you do it. This is the way I do it, and I don't have any problems with my tomatoes. So if gardeners are telling you that you're going to get problems with your plants because you're not taking the bottom leaves off or the side shoots, then don't believe them, because it's not true. The side shoots grow tomatoes, so you'll double the amount of tomatoes that you grow by letting a couple of side shoots come through. Now the only thing is, here's the catch. If you're going to let side shoots grow to full size, then the plant becomes heavy. So you're going to have to support it more. It's going to have to be supported, and you're going to have to water it more. It's going to need a lot to drink, and it's going to need supporting. So if I let too many side shoots grow, then I'm going to have to put in more canes to support them. So I don't let too many grow. I let enough grow so that that one cane can support the whole plant, if you understand what I'm saying. So if you don't understand, and I'm missing anything, then pop a little comment underneath this video and ask me anything you want to know. And if I know the answer, I'll let you know. Or I'll tell you what I do anyway. So as for watering, because that's a bit confusing as well, don't overwater tomatoes. They don't like it. They don't like being drowned. They hate being in wet, really muddy soil. So that's why I do grow bags as well, because I can see when they're drying out. So you see, that's quite dark there. So they don't need a water, these, today. I did them yesterday. I don't need to do them today. I'll let them dry out. So what I do is stick my finger in. Don't even have to stick my finger in. Just give it a little, and I can see straight away that that soil is lovely and damp, so they don't need any watering. See, that one's drying out a bit there, can you see? But if I stick my finger in, it's okay. It's nice and damp. It's not really wet. It's not really damp. It's drying out a bit, so maybe tomorrow I'll give that a bit of a water. It doesn't need it tonight. Look, another one. These are my squash and my pumpkins, so I think I'm going to take them down to the allotment and put them in this weekend. Or this week, or soon, anyway. Yeah, they need to go in. They're being eaten. Right, so back to this. So I continue tying them. So if you've noticed, there's a few little areas where I've tied. And then I've tied again there. Same there. So just keep loosely tying them as they grow up. Just to show them the way and give them a bit of support. And I don't tie them in a knot, I just tie them in a bow. Then if the stem becomes too thick, then I can loosen it and I don't have to start cutting them off. So that's just a little bit about how I do it. Now the only thing is as well with the side shoots, I'll just go back to that. If you let too many side shoots go and you get too many branches growing off it, then what will happen is your variety of tomatoes that are supposed to be like a normal tomato size will actually turn into a cherry tomato. They'll be smaller, so you won't get full size tomatoes if you let too many branches grow. And that's it really. There's nothing else to tell you. Just look after them, feed them. There's another one. So I use Tomatorite, which is tomato food specifically for tomatoes, or you can use seaweed. I use seaweed as well. But I've got that, so I'll use that first, and if I run out, I'll give them seaweed. I like the seaweed, me. It seems richer, but as long as they stay a nice dark colour like that, there needs to be a nice dark leaf. If they start going yellow at the bottom, you start getting a few like leaves at the bottom that start going funky coloured or yellow, just take them off. You don't need them, you don't need the bottom leaves, and you can remove them. So don't worry if you've got to take some off. Always make sure that you either snip them off with a pair of scissors or you nip them off cleanly, and then there's no disease gets into the stalk. You don't want anything getting into the stem, because the stem is the actual brain of the plant, and if you damage that, then the plant's going to suffer, or it's going to get a disease and die. So that's mine, and that's how I do it, and I've done it for years this way, and I always get lots and lots of tomatoes. So there's no need to start stripping them all and making them look like stalks with tomatoes hanging off, because that's not how nature created a tomato plant. And I know we've got a lot of hybrids that are cross with other tomatoes, because there's a million different tomato plants. They're my favourite plants to grow, honestly. They give me such a thrill, these. They're just an absolute joy for me, tomato plants. They're so easy, and there's so many different varieties, and you can just keep going and going and going and trying new things. You can never get bored of growing tomatoes. And once you've grown your own tomatoes, you will never, ever, ever enjoy store-bought tomatoes ever again. They'll never taste the same, because these are just absolutely amazing. The flavour and everything of a home-grown tomato is beyond amazing. Just a short update on the cucumbers. We have cucumbers. Can you see that there? That is a lemon, cucumber. So there's quite a few. I've spotted them this morning. There's one up there as well. One there. So yeah, they're all coming along nicely now. So I didn't think I was gonna get any cucumbers because it's been so cold. You tend to just get male flowers, and the females don't. The females are the one that produce the cucumbers. But yeah, they're all doing really well. So yeah, I got up this morning and I had a good look, and I've noticed that we've got some lemon cucumbers at last. So that's all good news. We've also got some cucamelons. If I can show you, I've put like a little bottle of feed in. Yes, they're cucamelons anyway. So they're like a little tiny grape size cucumber that it's quite citrusy, like a limey flavour, fresh on salads, and they're climbing up there for fun. So that's an update on the cucumbers. So I've got flowers on my peppers there, hid behind the leaf. So that's California pepper, and we're getting peppers on there. Nothing happening with these yet. But no, they're not quite big enough yet. That's my mushroom video for today. I hope it was informative. As usual, if you like my content, then please subscribe. I hope you're all having a great week. I hope the weather's good enough for you. It's just brightening up here. It can't make its mind up. It was supposed to rain all day today. It had a couple of showers, but it's not been too bad really. So the next one I'll be on the allotment, probably weeding again, but I've got a few things to do, and I'm going to be doing some more sowing as well. I'm going to pop some more beans in because there's a few that have been chewed, so I'll just pop some more beans direct in the ground, I think. But nothing major, and I'm going to put my pumpkins in because they're not doing any good in my greenhouse now, and it's time they went in. They're going to have to fend for themselves. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.